Hey, and welcome to the second race of the 2019 season. Here I am lined up with the other sports racers. That's my main competitor Don in the red and white Caterham number 6 in front of us. And it's hard to see the starter's flag on the video, but there. I get a great start. Don in the red Caterham, not as good. Off we go. My tyres are lovely and warm, unlike some of these guys. I'm very confident I can just power it in here. I've got full brakes from the first lap, so I can outbrake all these guys very easily through here. I've got full grip, I can lean on it, lots of throttle. Gets me a whole bunch of places up the start. And quick check over the shoulder. It's clear to the right, so tuck in there, lean on those brakes, you know they're good. Lovely, lovely and clean. Slot in behind this red Formula Ford. Now I didn't quite get clear of red, so I have to give him space on the inside, but only a car's width. Unfortunately that's enough for him. He's got better power to weight ratio, so he just zooms away. This is a new configuration of the track for this year. Sequence coming up is slightly more open, slightly quicker, slightly easier than last year, so we're all just still getting used to it. I still love this sequence, and you get that flow and you can just fly through there. Careful throttle on turn in. Now you can go full up this very steep hill, steeper than it looks. Stay flat for this left, find that turn in. Keep the grip, good. Hard braking, find it, grab it by the scruff of the neck and drag it round nice and wide on exit. I'm not going to catch these guys in front, I've got to watch my back. There's a Formula Ford coming up hard. He got a great run off turn 8. Really good through turn 9, he's in my draft. He pops out. It's all over. It's all over. Good pass. Very good. Now, of more concern is Bruce coming up behind me in the identical blue Caterham. He got an amazing run up here. Where he gets that speed from, I don't know. Just cruises past. Slot into his slipstream. Use the fact that he's got to hit the air first and making a big hole for me. Cloud of dust on the exit as someone put a couple of wheels off. Very annoying. Keep bringing gravel on the track and then it gets slippery and then people go off and they bring more gravel on the track. Just coming up behind me is the yellow Caterham, driven by Peter. Peter didn't get enough race time in last year, so he's a little bit tentative at the start, but his car's got 100 horsepower more than me, so that makes up for it. Getting this 5A, 5B, 6 sequence smooth, clean, trying to hang with Bruce, but he is a much more experienced driver and you can just see he's pulling away just slightly, despite the fact that we are in identical cars. Peter coming up behind, using his horsepower up the hill, but he's got nowhere to pass. I can block him very effectively through here. Hard braking will be the same under brakes, will be the same round turn 8. Well, Peter a little bit wide there, so I get a bit of space on him, but now we'll sweep onto the straight and his horsepower will start to really show dividends. Yeah, look at that horsepower. Really not much you can do to defend against that. So Pete's off to play with Bruce. And because I've been drafting Bruce the whole lap, I get a personal best lap. It's pretty good for a season starter. Now the track is about a second faster because of the new configuration, but still, yeah, that's a nice way to start a season, is get a couple of personal best laps in there. And actually closing on these because Bruce is being pressured and having to take suboptimal lanes, so closing slightly. But down here, there you go. Bruce had to take the inside line and Pete just wanders past him. Now, what might happen is Bruce takes him back. That's why he's right on his arse. These twisty bits, Pete really doesn't have much of an advantage. We're all basically the same car. But they got on the straight. Pete's still ahead. Off he goes. Bye bye, Pete. I've got to worry about this Formula Ford behind me. There's very difficult to pass through here, so just, you know, be aware that he's behind you. Focus on your line. Keep it smooth and clean. It's interesting to compare these two cars. We've both got about the same power to weight ratio, so the same sort of acceleration. Cornering is about the same. The Ford might have had a slight edge. His top speed is higher, but not that much higher. The interesting thing is he gets there quicker. the last bit from sort of 80 to 120 is significantly quicker just because it's a smaller frontal area. So here he comes, we're about the same speed through turn 9. You can see I'm just making a gap. I'm not actually drawing away in time, just distance because we're going faster. And you'll see, and now I hit the brick wall and he comes past, and I don't feel like squeezing him into the wall, that's just unfriendly and dangerous. So I wave to him to let him know that, yep, I see you, I'm not going to move on you. And then under braking, can I make it up? No, I do a little bit. I guess I got slightly better brakes, or I'm slightly more confident with them. And round we go, but off he goes again. And it's going to be tough to catch him, really is. Fundamentally, he's a better driver in a better car, so he's off to play with Bruce. We'll see how he does with him. Meanwhile, behind me is a thing with wings. That's what we call them. Thing with wings and slicks. This one is a Formula Mazda, so it makes a crazy noise because it's got that Mazda rotary. He does not appear to be a confident driver. I think he might be a novice, or maybe he was a novice last year. That car has a lot of performance. He shouldn't be back here dicing with us. He should be blitzing off the front. But you know, he got a terrible 3A, 3B. He's clearly still getting used to the car. Maybe he's got setup issues. I don't know. Anyway, I seem to be able to hold him off through here. But obviously on the straights, we'll see how he does. Just holding it. Oh, look, he's coming up really hard. He's got a lot of grip around 9, almost beside, through 9, and honestly I'm not sure what I can do along here. He's not attacking as much as I thought he would. I think he's probably not that confident at passing me, but now he goes, and I let him past, and there you go. And he can go play with Bruce as well. And Bruce is holding off that Formula Ford very nicely, making himself very wide, but as a result he's having to pick suboptimal lines, he's having to block, and so I'm closing up on them all. And so this should be interesting. I might even be able to close with the Formula Ford and the Mazda and annoy them. Normally Bruce would be able to gap me by probably 2 seconds a lap if he's really on it. We are in identical cars, so that 2 seconds is just skill difference. Bruce is ex-professional. He is a much better driver than me, but because he's having to choose suboptimal lines, I'm just about keeping with them. I'm also getting a draft advantage. That big wing on the Formula Mazda is making a nice big hole in the air for me to slip in, whereas Bruce is of course taking the full aero brunt. And so we're coming up here, nowhere to pass here, so they're really just closing up on Bruce. They've both got a much better top speed. The Mazda's not really taking advantage. The Mazda should be all over the rear of the Ford, but again, his inexperience showing. Round here, the Mazda's using its wings to get better speed, and now we're back on the straight, and you'd think it's all over. Bruce is about 10 miles an hour down on top speed. There goes the Formula Ford out to the right. Bruce moves to block him through the kink. But not by much. Actually, Bruce, I think, is trying to block the Formula Mazda. It looks like the Ford and Bruce are side by side, and you'd think, and Bruce outbrakes him. Coming into 2, Bruce brakes later and harder, and he's actually held both of them off. Very, very impressive driving in a clearly inferior car to both of these. That's an amazing job. But then coming into 3, the Formula Ford shows he can brake late as well. Comes straight round the outside of Bruce. Bruce had to guard the inside. Nothing he could do really, just excellent driving by the Formula Ford. Really clean pass, well executed. Just beautiful on the limit braking there. And there's a yellow flag and then a double yellow, which means we're behind the safety car. That means something pretty serious has happened. And sure enough, we come around this corner and there's just bits of car absolutely everywhere. This is an infamous corner. It's called the $1 Million Corner. It destroys about $1 million of car a year, and well, unfortunately that's added to the total. Very tricky corner. Fortunately the driver's fine. The safety equipment did all its job, but yeah, no car. So we all went in the pits. They cleaned the track. We came out, did a formation lap behind the safety car, and now this is the restart, which is the same as a normal start except we're in single file. And the problem then is we're so far back it's really hard to see the flag, so you kind of got to just listen for the engine note. And there, I think that's the start. The Mazda didn't quite wake up, so Bruce gets the jump on him. I'm sure he'll come back shortly. And through we go. And Bruce takes the inside line to guard against the Mazda, so the Mazda goes outside, which is the standard fast line, which maybe I can duck on the inside. I'm not really close enough for a pass, but I can close up and get a good shot out of 2, maybe surprise him into 3. So here we go. He's gone left, yep, so I'll go right, and oh, there's a car in the way. That's a Formula V, they're rather slow. That's ruined my chances of an undertake. Oh, I could have, bother. So the Formula V is waving me past, and that's fine. We're all lapping him, of course. We're also lapping this this red, I think it's a Porsche on the right. But still, you know, they're in the way, nope, now the power to weight ratio of the Mazda takes the advantage. So we just cruise through here, just try and finesse it, keep it tidy. Don's always nipping at my heels. These Formula Vs are cool little cars. It's basically all the mechanicals and engine from a 60s Beetle, and then you put it in a racing chassis. They're a lot of fun, they're very cheap, but they're not exactly quick. They have about 60 horsepower, top speed is 99 miles an hour, but they are used to being lapped, and this chap was jumping out of our way. Thank you very much, sir. And so this is the Formula Mazda's chance to get past Bruce. Bruce chooses to go left around the outside, which is the natural line for the Formula Mazda, but he nips inside. He's got the pace to just cruise past Bruce. He's clearly getting a bit braver, a bit more aggressive on the brakes. Oh, and he's lost it! Round he goes! Lost the rear. That wing won't do any good if you're going sideways, mate. So, well, there you go. Got a bit too cocky, a little too eager on the throttle through 2. And so I'm closing up with Bruce at a surprising rate, I suspect because he's not got anyone in front of him he can reasonably catch, so he's come back to play with me, which is always fun. I enjoy dicing with Bruce. So I'm just trying to keep with him. The draft gives me a bit of a help, though not through these slow sections so much, so just through here. Just trying to stay with him. Can't really overtake, it's too narrow, too twisty, too many bumps in the road, especially here. Well, look at that bump. But Bruce takes quite a big chunk out of me through 5B, up through 6, up on the hill. Now the aero starts to kick in, now I can close, get right up on him. I'm not close enough to outbrake him through 8, but I'll get closer. You see the difference in lines. Bruce comes in late, goes out wide. The E30s and Miatas like that line. It just pinches 9 a bit much, so here I am taking 9 in wider. Gives me a little boost just coming up to slipstream him. Let's see what we can do here. But I changed to 5th. Early in this season I'm changing to 5th gear, and I haven't yet learned that it's a bad idea. You don't need to change to 5th. You've got enough revs in 4th to keep going, and unfortunately 5th is just too tall on this car, so that's why I dropped back. If I'd stayed in 4th, I would have at least been able to go side by side. Some dust because someone's gone off track again and brought it back on. Stop that. There's no hope of taking Bruce on the outside. All I'm trying to do is pressure him. Just add pressure, right? Even if you have no hope of even if you can see you have no hope of getting him, it's harder when you're in the front car. Someone does a move on you, it's hard to see whether you just go, he's just pressuring me, it's whatever, he's just trying to unnerve me, or whether he's actually got a chance. So it's worth just sticking your nose out. They can bobble, they can make a mistake, and you can cruise on past. That's racing. However, this is Bruce. He's probably not going to make a mistake, but he does expect me to try. There's a couple of races we've gone back in the pits, and he's like, "Hey, where were you? Are you just cruising behind me? Like you meant to put me under pressure." He's a good teacher. Alright, let's try this again. Get the nice draft, tucked in nicely, you can see. Pop! And almost lang. Don't touch that gear knob! No, you're not out of revs, you didn't have to change, that's a lie. I'll learn. You see, I just went backwards when I changed the fifth. Part of the problem is that my rev counter, I don't have a speedo, but I have a rev counter, but it stops reading at 6,000 revs. My actual red line is at 6,500, but it doesn't matter because the rev meter reads wrong, so I have to go by ear, and this being the first race, I still haven't got my ear in on where red line actually sounds like, so I'm changing up too early. I think I need fifth, and I really don't. Again, no hope of getting past there. I mean, you just can't pass on the outside through 3B, but it unnerves him, and as long as it doesn't cost you too much time, that's you know, apply pressure, apply pressure. If you just drive behind someone all the way, you're never going to pass them. So the solution to the gearbox problem is to get a new gearbox, or rather new gear ratios. So it's the same mechanically, a gearbox, but second gear is higher, fifth is lower. So I'll be able to use second, third, fourth and fifth on this track rather than just third and fourth. And that'll give me closer ratios, more choice of gears, and hopefully close up the gap. So nice and tight in here, get a really good run out of 8, great run through 9, look at that closing speed, that's the power of the draft in these 7s, pop out, cruise past him, beautiful pass, and look in the rear view, you can see his cage there, and then I change to fifth and he comes back. And again, that's just my ear saying, oh, you're running out of revs, and that's just not true. I can do 127 miles an hour in fourth gear. There is no need to change up. Oh well, do it again, tuck in behind him, nice and close, trying to get the slingshot out of here. He goes right, but he's allowed to come back. The guy in front is allowed one move per turn. So Bruce chooses the inside, I go the outside, which really, you know, there's no hope really, but you might as well just take a different line. If you follow him all the way around, you're never going to pass him. Tucking in nice and close here. Gets slight, no, about equal coming out of 3B. Using that draft, closing up. Again, you can't pass through here, so I'm not trying to close up too soon. The aim is to get closing speed as you enter turn 6, which is this left-hander coming up. So I want to be slightly faster coming into here, and ow, he gets a good drive up the hill though. We're both full throttle through here. Now again, the difference in lines coming into 8, I'm slightly tucked in close here, he comes wide, that's the classic fast line. You can't really say which one of us got the better line, because I have so much advantage from the draft, I can go all over the place and still get away with it. Alright, third time's the charm. So we'll go through, lovely, lovely, lovely. And you can see in the rear view, you can see him. There he is, there's the cage. Bruce, honestly, Bruce just gave it to me. he could have come back, and he's just like, I'll let him have it. Part of the reason he has an advantage on that straight is because he's driving a 6-speed gearbox, not a 5-speed, so slightly different ratios, slightly better for this track. So now he's going to chase me, and oh, just a little late on the braking there. Now it's very hard to pass through here unless you get a run up. So when I'm through here and I got someone safely behind me, I can just concentrate, head down, just get this inch perfect. You really don't have to worry about someone finding a better line and overtaking. It's very, very difficult. Okay, now is when the overtaking opportunities come back. If you have a lot of pace, you can overtake up on the inside, on the left. And then here is a key overtaking. So I'm a little bit closer into the corner than I would normally be. Here, you can see the difference in lines. Okay, so now it's Bruce's turn to attack me. He's coming up, you can see he's got the draft. He pops right, I defend, so he pops back left, and he didn't lose any momentum, and so he cruises on past. If we were racing for money, I would have squeezed him out against the wall, but it's just dangerous. So through here, not close enough for a pass through to, so what I'm aiming is to get up close and get best speed out of 2. Your exit speed on a corner is the most important thing. So here we go. Where's he going to go, inside or outside? He goes left, I go inside, and I get some really good braking done actually. And that's about the best I've done that turn. Normally he'd come back, but I've got just enough pace and he actually gets squeezed out. Normally he would have come back on the left, down the inside, we would have just swapped back and forth, but I actually got some really good pace through there. Very, very happy about that. This is probably the last lap. He's not going to get past me here, so his only hope is to maybe outbrake me into the long left-hander of 8, or maybe just across the finish line. So here we go, up the hill. I've actually got a decent gap on him. No, he's closing up due to the draft, and and there's some cars behind us. We're being shown blue flags, and it's actually the race leaders, and they're having a battle. And if they're having a battle, we really need to let him past. Bruce sees that. We can't have a battle through here. We got to let those guys past. And here they come, and so no chance for Bruce. These two still absolutely neck and neck, and this is the checkered flag. So that last minute pass I made through 3A, that was it. That's the race. Good race, Bruce. Thank you very much. Wonderful time. The whole race we're back and forth. Well, apart from the big crash in the middle, but yeah, that's racing in Caterhams. That can be a lot of fun.